All right, friends, welcome back. So in this video, we're going to talk about the pulse test. So we just went through, the process of elimination when it comes to our food, like what to prioritize trying to eliminate first. So next up, we're going to talk about the pulse test. So you may have seen me teach this before in some of my free trainings. I know I've done an Instagram video on it, but the pulse test is a tool that we can use in a more immediate way to determine if something is causing an acute or sudden reaction. In terms of food, you can use this on drinks like wines. I know some red wines my body can handle, and some it's like not so much. Supplements, and I've actually also tested this on skin products. So like I put a little bit on, and I did the thing I'm about to teach you, and it was interesting to see the results that way. But let me go ahead and share my slides. Okay, so the pulse test. So this is a little simple assessment tool you can use to take advantage of your nervous system and see if it's having a stressful reaction. So the nervous system is actually pretty fascinating. There's the nervous system. The nervous system is actually pretty fascinating. It can assess pretty quickly whether something is stressful, whether it sees something as a threat. So we're going to take advantage of this in the pulse test. So in the pulse test, we're going to be taking our pulse. Surprise, surprise. So what I want you to do when you do this test is have a piece of paper handy and a pen and your phone, another stopwatch. So where you can use the stopwatch on your phone, or if you have an old school stopwatch, whatever. But we're going to walk through the steps now. So the first thing you're going to do is make sure that you are seated. So we want to be, at a baseline level of rest when we start this test. So you are going to be doing this before you eat a meal. So say you prepare a meal, you want to know, is this, am I having a sensitivity or some type of allergic reaction or intolerance to this food in front of me? This is how we can test it. So you'll have your food in front of you. Don't take a bite yet. You're going to sit down, take a few deep breaths, get settled. Okay, and then you're going to pull up your phone's stopwatch because we're going to use that next. So this is before you even take a bite of your food. Sit down, take a few deep breaths, grab your phone's stopwatch. And then what you're going to do is you're going to use your two middle fingers, so your middle finger and your index finger, to take your pulse on your wrist, okay? Be sure not to use your thumb. Sometimes the pulse in your thumb can interfere with the pulse on your wrist. So use these two fingers, pulse on your wrist, find your pulse, and you're gonna take it for a full 60 seconds. And this is important. I know it's common to do 15 seconds and then multiply by 4, but you're gonna see in a second, we're looking for a small margin of error here. So I encourage you to please just take your pulse for a full 60 seconds. So hit start on the stopwatch, find your pulse, count it, 60 seconds, and then you're gonna go ahead and you're gonna write it down. So that's why I had you have the pen and paper, just so you don't have to worry about trying to remember it. You'll go ahead and write that pulse down. Next, you're finally gonna take a bite of your meal. So, test, maybe you have a few things on the plate, maybe you do them one at a time, whatever. So you're gonna take a bite of your food and you're gonna chew it. And I'm gonna have you not swallow it. Try to keep it in your mouth. Try not to swallow it. It's not the end of the world if you swallow it, but whatever. So chew for a full 30 seconds. And what that's doing is it's giving your brain enough time to register. Okay, what's in my mouth? Is this beneficial to me? Is this going to be stressful for me? And then what you're going to do is you're going to retake your pulse for another full 60 seconds. So you have your first number, same thing, two fingers on the wrist, take your pulse again after having that bite and that taste of your food. What we're doing is we're looking to see if it changes. If your pulse changed, specifically if it went up by a beat of 6 or more, by an increase of 6 beats or more, that means that your body could be preparing itself for stress. It's preparing to, for fight or flight. It's like, this is something that might be stressful, so I need to be ready for it. Okay. Sometimes it'll happen that your pulse goes down, and same thing, 6 beats, that could also be indicative of a stressful reaction if your nervous system is one that tends towards freeze. Like when it's stressed, it just like wants to stop and freeze. So 6 beats really either way can indicate that, yeah, this food is stressful. And again, that's why we want a full 60 seconds, because if we're only off by, 1 beat in our 15 seconds and we multiply it, we're getting close to that, that margin. So take it for the full 60 seconds. Yeah, so what's happening is, again, your central nervous system, it registers what's in your mouth and it knows right away, is this something that I need to be prepared for? Is it going to cause me stress? So from there, you can do with that information what you want. I encourage you not to freak out. Again, maybe then we talked about this in the previous lesson, but it's up to you to decide. So that's why I didn't have you swallow it. So if it was like a super high spike and it's definitely going to cause some type of reaction, maybe you don't want to swallow that thing, right? Maybe you want to spit it out. But otherwise, you can just swallow it. Maybe you don't eat the rest. Maybe you do and decide you're going to limit it in the future, whatever. But that's a good way to kind of just experiment, see, is this red wine going to make me super hungover, or is this red wine actually feel okay? Is this food going to make me bloated? Like I said, I tried it with putting a little bit of a skin product on my hand and my pulse went up. So I was like, maybe this isn't the best for my skin. I don't know if it works the same way, but it was kind of cool to test. So that's the pulse test. Again, you can use it, for food, you can use it for drinks, and it's a good assessment tool to have. Working through the processes and the steps of elimination is definitely going to be your best bet. This isn't 100% foolproof, but maybe when you're out at dinner or whatever, again, it can be kind of in the moment, a quick thing to assess what's good. A healed gut is less sensitive. So yeah, we've talked about this, I think, but if you're sensitive to it now, it doesn't mean you're going to be sensitive to it forever. Maybe limiting it for a temporary, certain amount of time and then adding it back in, and your body won't have a stressful reaction and it'll be a-okay. So don't freak out, but that's the pulse test.